Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Falling Skies Fan Podcast. I'm your host, Hank Davis, and joining me on the line, he is my co-host. He is Alex Cruz. How are you, my friend?
Fantastic.
Awesome. Terrific. Alex, anything before we get started with discussing Compass, the show 3?
Yeah, really quick. I think I touched up on this a little bit last week. One thing I love about Falling Skies is the multimedia capabilities of the whole show. If I could direct everyone's attention to fallenskies.com, they have chapters of webcomics, and this special webcomic fills in the gap between the end of season 1 and the beginning of season 2. And also to enhance that, there's 6 chapters out right now, and what another thing that they have is it's like it's an audio thing. Pope found a tape recorder and says about a little 2-minute spiel, kind of goes with each chapter of the comic book.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's really cool. I like what they're doing with this.
Very cool.
And then not only that, but there is also for those of you who have a smartphone, they have there are currently about 3 different apps for Falling Skies. The one app kind of ties in with the website itself. And then there's another app that you can play the Resistance game that's on the webpage. And then there's a third app that for those of you that are familiar with like TNT and TBS, they have special apps for their special TV shows, which it syncs with the TV show, and it'll have like different sayings and facts every like 2 or 3 minutes on the phone. So I did download that, and I did watch Compass while that was going, and boy, it was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I have an Android, but it's not that smart. Yeah, I might download one of those apps and check that out. I don't know. I'm the more I guess the more reserved, don't want to know too much of the two of us, and then Alex is the I have to read everything, have to see everything, I have to know what's coming next.
Yeah,
it's a good dynamic.
Well, as long as it doesn't have like any spoilers or anything.
Yeah.
And so one really good thing about the webcomic is we do have the battle that's referred to in the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
The Battle of Fitchburg.
And they reference it in this one too, so we'll talk about that later too.
And they do. And so far there are 6 chapters. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume there's going to be around 10 chapters, and each chapter has around 22 pages or so.
Very good. That's nice.
And then one really cool thing about it, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it does introduce us to characters that we first see at the first episode of the second season, and we also learn how the Berserkers get their name.
Awesome. I was thinking of different names for them as I was driving home today. I was like, man, what if they call them the Hooligans or the Ruffians? Or I was thinking all these stupid names. I was
call them the Hairy Hooligans.
I was cracking myself up. All right, Alex, do you want to get into the numbers? Do you want to get into those now?
Okay, all right. Yeah, I guess we can get into that now. The ratings for Compass was 3.81, which is it's down from the previous week.
Ouch.
And as far as I know, it's the lowest rated Falling Skies show of both seasons.
Oh, no.
The previous lowest one would have been the episode Silent Kill on July the 10th, 2011, and that was a 3.9.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, well. Oh, I hope that was just a lot of power outages or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's
I
just
know.
a. I'm gonna say something. Sunday night is just not a television night for me. I DVR mine, so they usually don't count DVRs, do they?
I don't think they do, but there
Yeah,
has to be some way now that they check that stuff because you can get it on demand as well.
yeah,
So I don't know if there's a way to measure that because I agree it's summertime
yeah.
and
And you're
Sunday night people are out partying and stuff.
or people are just coming back from where we're at in Michigan. People go up north every Friday and they come back every Sunday night. When you get home, you're not going to really watch TV.
Right. Yeah, you're just gonna unwind a little bit and
Yeah.
drink a couple Hank Weisers and stuff and
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Alex, shall we start talking about Compass?
all right, let's get right to it.
So this is show 3 of season 2, and we start out with Jimmy and Ben in the woods patrolling. Ben notices a skidder, and Jimmy takes him down with a kick butt shot. I thought that was so cool that they were out there doing that. Maybe a little reckless, so to speak, but I thought it was kind of cool.
extremely reckless, and as we're going to find out, we're going to see how reckless it was, and then I'm going to pipe in then.
The skidder jumps up, and Ben takes great joy in ripping its throat out. So that skidder was pretending to be dead, apparently. And then, wham, he's just up like a horror flick.
It was playing possum, so evidently it might have been a possum at one time.
Yeah, it could have been. He's just playing possum. Watch out. So I thought that was a cool little sequence there, them out on their own. Because younger kids would do something like that. They would be out on patrol, usually imaginary patrol, but in this case, it has to be real. So
yeah, but if memory serves me correctly, Weaver had them out for a purpose,
and not
Ben
so far.
kind of took advantage of that and didn't really follow orders.
Yes, and we also kind of find out either in this sequence or coming up that Ben's been taking ammo from the berserkers. Is that how that works?
That's exactly how that worked.
So back at the base, Tom watches Matt sleep with a gun. Did you notice the gun at first?
You know what? I didn't until he mentions that he mentioned something to Hal about it, and I'm like, oh, that was a gun he was sleeping with.
Yes. Hal's just like, don't worry, it's unloaded. But he's sleeping with this little kid is sleeping with a gun. Oh man!
And what was funny, I know that this reminded me of the movie Full Metal Jacket because weren't they during the boot camp scenes? Weren't they sleeping with their rifle?
Yes, they were. So maybe he's going through boot camp. I don't know.
So I don't know. He thinks he's in the military.
Yeah, it's daycare then boot camp.
Military day camp.
So Tom and Ann, I thought they had a nice exchange, and Tom makes Ann laugh. And then we find out that Ann has this calendar that she's keeping track of dates with. So she is just constantly marking them off. And I'm like, would you do that in that scenario, Alex? Would you be concerned about what's the real date and anything like that?
You know what? Being as lazy as I am, I probably wouldn't even keep track. However, there's a reason why she does this, and I think it's a good way to keep time though. And this ties in with one of Pope's tape recording messages, and Pope said on there that he does not know what time of year it is or anything. And so I bet you a lot of the second mass are kind of in the same way. They have no idea what like time of the year it is.
Can I throw a wrench in her little calendar thing? Can I really take the air out of her right now?
Go for it.
If she's listening, I just say, are you taking into account daylight savings? Bam, gotcha. Awesome. Weaver and Tom talk about their plan to move, and they mention Michigan. We're from Michigan, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got hyped up about that, but
So Tom wants to fight, but Weaver wants them to retreat. So where did you stand on that when they were talking about should we, head for cold weather and head for the hills literally and hide out?
well, see this, in my opinion, this ties right to the American Revolution, and there's going to be another thing coming up that's going to tie directly to the American Revolution that I'll pipe up about then. But during the days of the American Revolution, hardly any battles were fought in the wintertime at all. Both armies would be camped up somewhere.
Yeah, having s'mores and
yeah, there would be no
cocoa.
fighting in the wintertime. At least up in the north, there wouldn't be any fighting. Of course, most of the fighting would be in the south, where there wasn't any snow of the such.
Very good. Tom comes across Pope, and it's a trap. What are you doing out here? Waiting for you? So they take Tom out to the woods to either let him walk away, or apparently they might put a bullet in his brain, is what I was thinking they were going to do. So Pope talks about how the others are creeped out by Tom's return. And I agree with that. You just come back after all this time. I don't so much agree with, hey, you got to leave right now or else we're going to shoot you. I don't agree with that. But
yeah,
but everybody is kind of creeped out, but they're not saying much. And then Ben and Jimmy show up to save the day. Was that kind of cool or what?
You know what? I thought what Ben did was really cool. He had the whole knife right on Pope and was gonna. And I don't know. I just thought it was handled nicely.
Yeah, and Ben more and more, doesn't he just seem like a full-grown man the way he's able to beat people down and fight aliens?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like the kid of last season.
Well, I think the Ben of this season, he's so far he's been every episode he's taken the stupid Mike Memorial Award. So we'll come to find out if he takes it for a third consecutive week.
No one has ever three-peated until now. No. Back at camp, Weaver grills Anthony about the setup on Tom. I thought Weaver was really good in this scene because he goes from Anthony, you didn't know nothing about it. Come on. He goes from him to, maybe I should leave Pope and the Berserkers behind. And then Tom, of all people, defends Pope and wants to be assigned to the Berserkers. I'll be honest with you, I marked out when that happened. I thought that was really cool. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know if that was kind of I don't know if Tom's reasoning for this was to get back into combat shape.
Or just keep an eye on Pope.
Exactly.
I thought he was just trying to weasel in to try to win over some of those guys. That's what I thought when they initially said this.
And you know what? I think you could have been right about that, and we'll see if that comes into play.
When Weaver tells Pope about that, all those guys start laughing at that statement. I thought that was a pretty good scene. And then Pope reminds Weaver about Fitchburg. So I don't know what he exactly did, but maybe you know more about that because of the comic and stuff, or you're going to know more about that pretty soon here.
Yeah, basically, like so far, what's going on. I don't want to give any spoilers out there to people who haven't read it yet, but Battle of Fitchburg, all it is kind of like a skirmish so far. So, and evidently the climax of the battle hasn't even occurred yet, but there were a lot of people, at least according to the episodes we've seen so far in Falling Skies, there was some major loss of life there. And that really hasn't come into play in the webcomic yet.
Okay. So we will find out about that. a little later on once you dig in a little deeper, I guess. Jimmy and Ben are out again, getting set to kill some more skitters. Now, was that Red Eye out there in the wilderness, or was that just a random skitter?
That was Red Eye.
That was Red Eye. Okay.
Yes.
And that one, was he the one that bounces Jimmy off that tree?
Correct.
Or actually makes Jimmy stick off that tree? If you're going to do something, you got to make it stick. So Ben's spikes start to light up while Jimmy is impaled on the tree.
Now,
what was
and
that?
this is kind of how my view on all of that was. Old Red Eye comes and stands right in front of Ben, and Ben just kind of freezes.
Yes.
And to me, what I kind of took what was going on, there was like a gathering of information going on, I guess in a telepathic sense.
Okay, I didn't think of it in that way. Awesome. Good take.
And so that's what it reminded me of, because as soon as he was there, the lights of that back lit up, and it's almost kind of like he was getting the information he needed out of Ben.
Okay, because I'm sitting there when those lights start going, I'm thinking some sort of mind control. I'm thinking this, you're within this certain range, you're right up on me now. Now this little noise they always are making. I don't know if that's just a noise they always make, or if that's some trigger that has their subject's mind just start, they just look like they're zombies at that point.
Well, I don't think Ben, I know Ben's not in control.
No.
Like he seems to think he is. And so, in fact, and like I said, exactly what went on is old Red Eye's getting information from him.
Awesome. So when Jimmy's stuck on that tree, I'm like, uh-oh, we know who the team loses this week.
And this ties into my Stupid Mike Memorial Award of the Week. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there has been a three-peat. Ben does earn the Stupid Mike Award of the week.
Yep. He getting a little too big for his britches, a little too cocky there.
He got a little too cocky and extremely reckless.
And very reckless. It could have totally been avoided. What are you doing? Don't get the old sad eyes later in the episode because you screwed up. And I totally agree with you. That award this is the first time we've ever handed it out 3 straight weeks to somebody.
See, not even Stupid Mike did things like that.
Nope. It's just been, so he's going to be all but forgotten now. Mike will be now.
I know, poor Mike. Now it's going to be the Stupid Ben Award.
It's going to have to change. Now, Lourdes gives us a medical lesson about how Ben was smart to leave the branch in place. If you would have took it out, he would have lost too much blood. Good job. I'm like, oh, thank you, Lourdes. What did you read that online somewhere or something?
And you know what? I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a scene that was going to gross us out as much as pulling that thing out of Tom's eye from last week.
Oh, you know what? I'm good. Weaver asked Ben, what were you doing out there? So Weaver's all upset. He gets ticked off. He pretty much blames himself for Jimmy.
And that's when he threw the big hissy fit.
Yes, he started.
Both he and Tom were, I don't know what the heck they were doing, and he was Weaver was kept on smacking lockers and stuff, and come to find out, it was the actor's choice to do that. It was like an improv.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
Yeah, there was I found all this out from that sync thing.
Okay.
It gives you little facts, and so it did say that that he in fact Will Patton, the actor playing Weaver, did in fact just start improvising right there, and they kept it in there because they thought it was a pretty strong. The director thought it was a pretty strong moment.
So after that incident in the woods, Weaver wants Pope and the Berserkers to sweep the area. Because they're like, man, they might know right where we're at now.
Yeah, so it's like, Pope, we're not that pissed at you anymore, so you can go ahead and continue on.
Yeah. We need your help. Tom finds Jimmy's compass. Pope says that there are no skitters, but Tom notices one. Now, did Tom hear that skitter before it appeared? Did his hearing pick that up? Did you notice that?
I didn't know. No, I didn't notice that.
It seemed like his hearing picked it up, and he was like, yes, there are. Let's get down, Get down. Yes, there are. There's here, Because Pope's like, well, there's none out here. So we're going to have to figure that out.
And in fact, what that will probably do is kind of add to the theory that he could be supposedly still under the influence of the skitters.
Yes, which is concerning. so now Pope wants to waste them, but Tom is like, no, let's just get down, let's stay down. And then here comes a mech, and it's picking up the dead skitters.
Now that was a little curious for me. Yeah. I saw that. And it's like, you know what? They're picking up their own dead. That's kind of like what humans do.
But it doesn't make any sense to me because in other scenes, haven't we just seen dead skitter bodies laying everywhere?
Mm-hmm.
And then in this scene, the mech is coming to retrieve them. Couldn't they have made the mech come there for a different reason? Just do a quick sweep and leave or something? I don't know. It's just the continuity in that. I was just curious.
No, and it's like I stated. You know what? This is very similar to what humans do. They come back and they gather their dead. And as we know, when the harness kids somehow transform, and could they very well be transformed into the skitters?
Ooh, yeah.
So it's. I
mean, that scaling is continuing on Ben, so I think they referenced that last season, right? That
they did, yes.
That they could totally do some kind of switch into those. Ugh, gross. So Tom pretty much saved the team's bacon because he was alert enough to say, hey, let's not attack him, because Pope was like, let's kill him, the skitters, and then that mech showed up, they would have got wasted. So the team's already...
exactly. And I think what in fact happened here is this got the respect of a lot of the berserkers.
Yes, it sure did, because they're like, oh, he cares about saving our lives here.
right. And then there's drama queen Pope, who throws a bloody fit about it. He didn't listen to me.
Oh, I love that. Ben is mad that Hal is just sitting there staring at him. This is in the mess hall, correct?
Yep.
And so Margaret and Hal have a nice little exchange. And Ben here's the whole thing. I mean, he's right there, and you're going to sit there and talk about it. I was like, not kosher. Not kosher. But Tom gives Ben Jimmy's compass to give to him when he wakes up. But Anne says it's up to Jimmy, and we pretty much know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, and it was funny because right then and there was a poll asking, do you think Jimmy's going to survive? Yes or no? And overwhelmingly, like around 70% said that, yeah, he'll make it.
Oh, no.
And I was of the vast minority who said, nah, he's not going to make it.
They must not have listened to last week's show. Because we said in the synopsis, the team loses one of their own. Oh, my goodness. So I guess now Ben is all of a sudden missing, and Tom and Hal have a family chat when a freaking plane lands at the base. Was this the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen or not?
No, it
was ridiculous.
It's like, oh, look at this. It's a World War I flying ace coming in.
And then I love her name. I love her name. Avery Churchill.
Yeah, Churchill. That's in regards to
Winston.
Winston Churchill, for the British Prime Minister during World War II.
Yeah, ironic. I was like, so she's been out there looking for survivors. And she says that there's a new Congress in Charleston.
And not only that, it's called the Continental Congress.
Can you
Okay,
say, oh,
another. I don't know if it's a blatant homage to the Revolution, American Revolution,
yeah, it is. Can
but I don't know. It's and then she tells this story in which I'll have you talk about there, and then I have a comment about it. And
yeah, and we're gonna talk a lot about this, I think, because Weaver wants proof that she is who she says she is, and she's gonna be detained. Her and her plane are gonna be detained for just a little bit.
which I don't blame him whatsoever. That's exactly
No.
what I would have done.
Somebody flies through. They just free fly through airways that have been Alien City for the last how long? And they're just like, oh yeah, I'm looking for survivors. I'm like, okay.
Sure you are.
So let's get through some Jimmy stuff and then let's go back to this.
Alrighty.
So Ben is by Jimmy's side, and Tom walks in to talk to Ben. Now we find out why Jimmy has Weaver's compass. Little Jimmy was lost apparently in the woods. He couldn't find his way out.
And he had a knack of getting lost, supposedly.
Yeah. That kid had no sense of direction. uh, so, so Tom briefly talks about the kid's mother. That was a decent scene, but do you think we would have more? I don't know. Do you think we would have more vested in that scenario of the lost mother if she would have been a part of the show, for a while or something, and then lost her,
Right,
like that.
and then like loser and the
Yeah.
okay. You know what? I think that a dynamic with the three boys and the widowed father, was exactly what it needs, and
Okay.
don't really mess with it.
Okay, that's fine. I was just curious what you would say on that. Because, I already like Anne. I think she's awesome. A great character.
And Anne, she was kind of in the same situation.
Yep.
She lost a husband and a child,
Yes. So
in
that,
which I know that kind of comes into play with this episode too.
yes, it does. So Avery is talking to the group, but Weaver and Jamil are talking about when they'll be ready to move out. Paul Revere, Avery, says that they need Tom in Charleston. Now, let's just get it out of the way now, because I mean, we'll probably reference this later, but let's just get this out of the way now. Is she working under the same deal that Tom was offered? Go round people up.
Well, now this is what she was offering. She said, in Charleston, we have electricity, we got warm water,
Right.
and you know what? To me, if something sounds too good to be true, it normally is.
Yes. And last week they just showed us, we just are fresh off of the first two shows. So we know the Tom deal. We know what they offered him. And then this week she shows up and she's flying through alien infested skies freely. And then how is she going to have this fuel to go to all these places she's talking about?
And what's funny, the excuse she has is, well, this plane is made out of wood, so the radar couldn't even begin to pick this up.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the heck?
And they don't hear this brrr, this
Yeah.
low flying buzzing plane that they could probably reach with their machine gun mech hands. Come on. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know what this is. So we agree then?
We agree that it's too good to be true, and something kind of funny's going on.
Yeah, some funny business. Now we finally get to the point where Jimmy is not breathing, and I know why. It's because Ann is delivering some weak CPR. She's just barely going on. She's like, barely, just like a quarter of an inch, just barely. I was like, no wonder he's not breathing. You're not doing it right. Crack his chest. Come on, let's do it. But I digress. So unfortunately, we lose Jimmy, and I am disappointed. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say it straight out. I'm disappointed because Jimmy's character at what little I seen this season was going to be 200 times more interesting than last season.
Well, he grew up quite a bit emotionally, and you know what? Even though I liked what he and Ben were doing, they were kind of sneaking out and killing skitters and stuff. I mean, that was kind of cool, even though that recklessness did cost him his life. Still, there's I don't know. I'm really was kind of bummed to see that character go.
I was very much upset. I was like, no, take so-and-so. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to take Ben.
You can have old shark fin. Awesome. So Weaver is digging a grave for Jimmy when Avery shows up to talk. Weaver tells her that she's free to leave. She tells Weaver that the people call him their leader. She's really a politician. She's playing to everybody's ego or their weakness or whatever it may be. You know what they call you? They call you their leader.
Yeah, she goes on to saying, yeah, I've seen many militia groups out there, and a lot of the militia groups don't like their leaders. But one thing that the Second Mass thinks about you, they really appreciate you and all this other stuff, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, she'd be a pretty good member of Congress there because they're known for their BS too.
And if they appreciate him so much, where's the card? You know, come on. So Weaver wishes her good luck, and then Tom and Ben are getting the dead body of Jimmy ready, and they notice where's that compass? Where'd it go? And so we already know who has the freaking compass. It's Pope. Tom and Pope go at it because he wants that compass from around Pope's neck, and Pope gets beat down pretty decent.
Well, first, I thought Tom was going to get the crap beaten out of him. Then all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan moment, and he hulks up and bam.
Because none of this other stuff, these 5,000 hits before hurt anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Brother. So they get that taken care of. And Weaver is just had it with Pope. So Pope wants to take off. And he wants the Berserkers. Come on, let's go. But only Anthony decides to go with him. They've already turned on him. How does that happen? Do you think that was way too soon?
Yeah, I mean, we're only in the third episode, but
yes.
Given that that this is a 10-episode season, I guess I can buy that.
Okay. I just thought to myself, like, hey, build that up for another week or two and then have that happen. You know, it was just so abrupt. But like you said, hey, they got a lot of ground to cover, so.
But
you got to do what they got to do.
And Anthony's motivation was kind of like, you know what? I got to keep my eye on Pope.
Yes, he did. He was like, you don't want him causing any trouble out there.
But really, in a nutshell, then, the Second Mass has lost two pretty good fighters.
Yes.
In Pope and Anthony.
Yeah. They're gone, and then Jimmy's dead. So
Jimmy's dead, so there's a third one gone in that episode. Yeah. And
I want to pose a question at the end of this episode, and I want you to answer it.
All righty.
It's coming up. All right, Ann and Tom talk about the Pope incident when they share another kiss, but Ann is sad. and we find out why she's sad. It's the birthday of Sammy. Sammy's birthday. She didn't want anybody to die on that day, right?
Right.
So, I'm assuming Sammy is a kid.
And you know what? I try to look that up, and I'm gonna take for granted it was her son,
Okay.
even though it could have been her husband as well.
I just thought Sammy is more of a kiddie name.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's how I took it. So I was like, huh, Sammy? Okay. Maybe
Or maybe, just maybe, she was bummed out that Mr. Bojangles himself passed away 20 some years ago, and
no.
she just commemorates that day.
No, he just didn't. Let me give it to you. Let's see if it's working.
What you talking about, Willie?
Oh my goodness.
Sammy.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. So we get to Jimmy's funeral where Tom returns Jimmy's compass to Ben. And then Weaver gave us a heartfelt speech. And did you see that when he started to talk about young kids having to grow up too soon and get in the battle? It looked like Matt was really resonating with that story, with that speech, I thought.
Yes.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see Matt fight. I mean, Matt, yes, he saved Tom's bacon, but do we really want to risk that more than once? I don't know.
And what's really neat about the scene, it was that when the scene was shot originally, there wasn't a lot of mourners, and Steven Spielberg himself saw the scene and says, come on, we got to put more people in there. And so they digitally put more people in the scene.
Awesome.
And I couldn't even tell who was real and who was digitally put in there.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
Right. Yeah,
That's awesome.
I thought that was pretty cool how it was done.
You know what, though? We should go back through that with a fine-tooth comb and see if they put any people that are supposedly dead in that scene by accident.
Well, I bet you we could find some.
There's Mike. Oh, my gosh. There's Uncle Scott is in the back. Oh, my
Hey,
gosh.
Uncle Scott didn't die. There he is.
He's right here. He just needed to attend the funeral. Oh, my gosh. That's awesome. Weaver is standing at the grave when he sees Avery's plane take off. Then Ben shows up with Weaver's compass to give it back to him. And that's the thing I was thinking. This whole episode, Tom's kind of making it seem like this compass should go to Ben now or something. I'm thinking, that's Weaver's compass. Weaver gave it to Jimmy. He should have the compass. So they kind of solved this right here. So
Yeah.
we find out that Weaver was an Eagle Scout. That was awesome, too. I was like, oh, he's an Eagle Scout. He's an Eagle Scout, like one of my friends. All right.
Who could you be talking about, I wonder? Yes, I am an Eagle Scout.
Awesome. He doesn't just play one on a podcast. He is truly an Eagle Scout. Ben breaks down, and Weaver embraces him. Did you feel a fatherly son type of connection here?
Oh, definitely. And
did.
Ben just kind of loses it, though. He lets his emotion get him, and so he was just there to console him.
And he was like, hey, stop crying, kid.
Yeah, one thing we can say about Dan Weaver is that he has a hard shell, but he's an old softy, right in the center.
Every week, don't they prove it?
Yeah.
Every week. He's a great actor, too. Great actor. Just when Weaver is talking to Tom and company about going to Charleston.
And you know what? I was a little bit disappointed with Weaver for doing that because I guess I can see between the lines of what awaits them in Charleston.
Here's your identification number.
Right. I mean, I guess I wasn't in total support of him going into the Catskill Mountains in the middle of the wintertime because that's a harsh living in there.
Yeah, they would have lost some more people.
Going to Charleston, I mean, I don't know. That's a trap waiting to happen.
Now, did they say they started with 300 and they're down to 176? Get it? 1776?
Oh, another reference.
Let me get my flute out. Hold on. But yeah, I overheard some skidders talking, and they said we're gonna need some more harnesses if they head to Charleston. We got to get a bigger enslavement camp.
And I don't know if you did you get a chance to see the preview to the next episode?
I am so angry. I had to hunt to
Okay.
see it because of my DVR. That next show, my DVR goes 5 minutes after it. That next show, they just wanted to race you into that show so that show could have a good lead in. I was like, that's dirty to, somebody that wasn't awake that was DVRing it. But I found the clip. I had to go to the darkest recesses of the internet or TNT.com. What did you think? What do you think's coming next?
Well, as we see, Matt's might be getting into some trouble, and he may be getting harnessed, and that I don't know about you, but at the end of this episode, I just wanting more, and then after watching the previews, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know, this season has really just the drama and the suspense. It's almost killing me. I got to have more.
It's so frustrating that this is a short season.
Yeah.
Because it's been amazing. And I'll
tell you what, with that being said, we are gonna see the plot be move quicker than a normal 25 episode season.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's going to move twice as fast because they have half the shows. At the very end, the group rolls out, and Ben is still at the gravesite, and Hal shows up. I guess that Red Eye finds Ben, and then Hal shows up, and old Red Eye has to take off. And
but again, like Ben just totally shuts down and just stares at him, and again, it's like I stated early. He's getting information. Old Red Eye's getting information from him.
Yeah.
It's almost like the information is being downloaded like a computer.
Yeah, the old information superhighway.
Old Red Eye there.
The old information superhighway there. Now, I want to ask you two questions.
Okay.
Did you notice that the language was a little harsher in this episode than it has been in pretty much any other episode that I can think of?
I did, and I know they said a-hole a couple times, yes. And it's like, wow. I watch FX, their TV shows, and they let just about everything except for the F word fly, which kind of shocked me because I remember back in the day of network television where they would get in trouble for even saying damn more than once. and now we're getting into all kinds of colorful four-letter language.
Yeah, they're getting there. So here's my second question to you, Alex. I've been sitting on this one for a week too. Tell me which one you would prefer to watch. The show as it is, just picture the show just normal as it's going, or what if the lead character was Pope and we didn't know Tom? Pope was the lead character, and he acted in that. You know how in professional wrestling they have the bad guy that's so bad that people tend to love him?
Yeah, like the Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Exactly. What if we had the Pope character that was so, wild and crazy, and the show was more that way? Which would you watch?
Well, you know what? It really hasn't been the first time in TV that the emphasis of the lead character has kind of changed. If we remember back in the 70s, there's a television show called Happy Days where the focus was on Ron Howard's character, Richie Cunningham, and then the secondary character just kind of took over. Henry Winkler's the Fonz, and he became the main character. And you know what? It very well could be that this could be what's happening here after so long. If Pope is getting to be so popular that he kind of takes on the Fonzie role and kind of takes over the show entirely.
Yes.
So I see all he needs is a T-shirt and a leather jacket. He's all set.
Are they messing up that Pope character though on here? Because as you see now, he's leaving again. He's obviously going to be back, but do they just not know what to do with him since he's so much stronger than they probably anticipated?
I think you may have a good point there with that. I think what we're gonna be seeing here in the next 2 to 3 episodes, just a lot of things are going to be coming towards us. A lot of a major advancement into the plot. We're going to see possibly Matt being harnessed, and so how is Tom going to deal with 2 kids being harnessed, and are they going to save him in time? And
I'm reading an email right now. That's why I'm laughing. I'm not laughing because 2 kids are going to be harnessed. I'm not laughing at that.
One kid was harnessed.
I'm laughing at an email from one of our, he is our favorite listener, James from Melbourne. Alex, can I read this email?
Go for it.
Before I start giving myself aneurysm or something. He says, "Hey, Hank and Alex. So what should this episode have been called? It should have been called, I Can Kick a Chair Harder Than You. That scene between Tom and Weaver in the tent was a bit cringeworthy. Or perhaps the scene when I thought Pope was doing a rope-a-dope on Tom. Maybe we could call it Pope-a-dope." But no, the middle-aged history teacher beats the career criminal to a pulp. And maybe he still has a few bugs in him, giving him superpowers. Speaking of out of character, does Ben Mason really feel guilty about being a bloodthirsty maniac who ends up getting people killed? He blames the Skitters, but I have a feeling if kittens had taken over the world, he would be drowning them by the sackful. Maybe Ben Mason gets people killed episode. That could apply to so many episodes. So yeah. He said, no, I would call this episode Who the Expletive is Sammy? And why do I give an expletive about him and his birthday? Oh my goodness. No, he did not. It's a great show, but I just don't care about Jimmy. His death was about as moving as the death of Cadet Smith of the Red Shirt Brigade in the episode of Star Trek. And he says, and I don't trust the guy that can't bear being 3 feet away from Pope. I'll watch him to make sure he doesn't double back, Captain. What a crock. Anyway, can't wait to hear your podcast. Thank you so much for the work, guys. Oh, James from Melbourne. He is freaking awesome, man. He's funny. He is funny.
I tell you what, that might have to give us a reason to head to Australia and do a podcast in Australia.
Yes. We should find out how we're doing in iTunes there. Awesome. And folks, if you want to send us feedback, just like James did, you can do so at tprfans@yahoo.com. That's tprfans@yahoo.com. You could write us an email, or you could record a voice on your computer and then send it to us as an MP3 file. That'd be awesome. We'll play it on the show. Or you can call our voicemail number. That's +1 810-309-8445. That's +1 810-309-8445. Regular toll charges do apply. Alex, can I run down the synopsis for next week?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Next week is titled Youngbloods. Ben and Hal go on patrol and help a boy, only to have their bikes stolen. The subsequent search for the bikes leads to a major discovery. We've found gold. No. Meanwhile, Matt steps into a dangerous situation, and Weaver reconnects with a family member. Awesome. What would you rate this 1 to 10, this episode?
I'm gonna say a 7.5.
Okay. I'm going with an 8 flat. I give it an 8 flat. I like some of the scenes. Some of the stuff was a little hokey. Avery, a little hokey.
And I want to agree with James on the part with Weaver just throwing a fit. To me, it didn't seem to fit in there all that well. And it's like,
my fault.
He's just throwing a fit. It's like, man, it's Pope. Pope is in Weaver right now. That's what Pope would have done.
Overacted.
Just little drama queen stuff, you know.
Awesome.
So, hey, for those of you interested, the very first webcomic of Fallen Skies is now being produced by Dark Horse Comics, and if you head over to Amazon.com, you can buy it for $9.99 from Amazon, or they are selling it new and used for only 1 penny.
I'll believe that when I see that.
1 penny folks, plus $3.99 shipping.
$19.99 shipping and handling. Now, folks, before I forget, if you want to watch us on your computer instead of listen to us on your iPod or whatever you might be listening to us on, you can do so at YouTube. You can just search Falling Skies Podcast on YouTube, and it'll come up, or Ustream.tv. We're on there as well. But we would love if you subscribed on iTunes or Zune Marketplace and help us get some more exposure. Alex, anything else before we wrap this show up?
No, we're again the teasers for next week. We may be meeting Weaver's daughter.
Oh my goodness, I gotta see this chick.
see that's the trailer. That's who this girl could be, which I find now it's kind of convenient how his quote unquote adopted son dies, but then his real daughter kind of fills in that spot in the next episode.
Yeah, you make a strong point there. Curious.
So yeah, so I guess we'll wait and see.
Awesome. So a lot of fun on this edition. Alex, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Folks, until next time. For Alex Cruz, I'm Hank Davis. We're signing off.
See ya.